Yeah, but yeah.
Thanks, Chair. Just a couple of questions and some comments.
So that I can actually understand the relationship between the AOC holder and CASA. So, you know, in the event that Qantas cuts 1,000 jobs, or Tiger or Virgin, and that impacts on maintenance, and there's fairly public comment about jobs being outsourced overseas, other ones going to Brisbane. So who is the responsible entity? Is it the AOC holder? And secondly, what do you do to check that commercial conditions are not impacting on the travelling public's safety?
Thanks for the question, Senator. In general terms, it's a requirement for holding the AOC that they have sufficient number of personnel, particularly in safety-sensitive roles, etc. In the provision of maintenance, and let's assume for a moment, I do not know whether this is the case, that we're talking about maintenance activity when it comes to reducing jobs or moving things overseas or whatever. They have a requirement under Part 145 and another requirement under Part 42 to maintain control of to maintain the continuing airworthiness of those aircraft, and the second one to actually carry out the activity themselves. If it's outsourced to somebody overseas, the maintenance I'm talking about, not the control of the maintenance, then we would oversee that organisation and go and physically check it. Now, one of the advantages I mentioned in my opening statement of the bilateral agreements which we've entered into with a number of countries, such as Singapore, which were signed last week or week before, that allows mutual recognition. So we recognise the activities that will be carried out under the 145 that Singapore approves, and they recognise maintenance that will be carried out in Australia under our organisations that are approved under Part 145, and there's no reciprocal inspection requirements. So we're reducing the red tape and regulatory burden. If the organisation got to a point where we suspected there was financial stress, then we would normally ask for a financial viability assessment, and we have done a number of those of recent times, not on Qantas but on other organisations.
Okay, and finally, the AOC holder is a person, not an entity. That's correct, isn't it? It has to be a person.
A person could be an entity, a corporate person.
Sorry?
Sorry, Jonathan Malik, Associate Director of Aviation Safety.
What he means is it's got one head and two legs.
Sorry? There will be individuals. The CEO normally is regarded as the accountable person for the AOC organisation, but it's the corporate entity that CASA deals with through the individual.
For argument's sake, we use Qantas, so the CEO being Alan Joyce, he would also be the AOC holder and the responsible person for that?
Not in that particular case, Senator. He has two other people who hold the AOCs as a responsible person, which is permitted without approval.
The point I'm making, I suppose, is the public would deem you to be the responsible entity, whereas the reality is that it's a corporate person or persons who no one knows.
As far as putting out the names of people as such, that's not an area where I have a lot of authority. The aircraft register would show who owns and operates the aircraft, but that may not, of course, be the Qantas, it's normally a leasing company or some such thing. In about start of 2013 or perhaps 2012, I'll take on notice exactly when, we wrote to all the AOC holders pointing out the CEO's responsibilities under what's called Section 28BE of the Act, and reminding them that there was a great deal of onus on them, and also through other mechanisms outside of CASA, the onus is on the board for fiduciary duty, etc. I think that was 2012. It was early 2012 we wrote that out for this very reason, to make sure that people realise what their responsibilities are. It's not for us all the time to be the policeman, as I know that might sound funny, but we can't be everywhere all the time. We just don't have enough people. So they're fully aware, and every AOC holder, when a new AOC is issued, gets a copy of that letter. All right.